Hello, everybody. Welcome to this quarantine content numero 6. That's Espanol for number 6. Glad that everyone can be here. My name is Reid. I'm the host and person talking in your ears right now. All around me, we have
Dan,
Mike,
Josh.
There we go. Not even talking over each other, man. We're really killing this thing. So welcome again. Appreciate you guys being here, the three of you. Also appreciate all of our listeners and viewers on YouTube who are watching and listening right now. Thank you guys so much. This is quarantine content number 6, which is the 6th episode of us just kind of hanging out and reliving some old fan favorite moments of the podcast as voted on and as selected by the fans. So if this is your first time listening to quarantine content, awesome. Super glad you're here. We have 5 other episodes that you can go through and kind of hear everything that's been discussed so far. And but what we do is we take submissions from the audience as to little clips, sections of previous episodes that people wanted to listen to relive or to have further explanation on, or to do a deep dive, or just kind of like provide, so we can provide commentary for those moments. And it's been really fun to go back and listen to old moments and old episodes that honestly I've forgotten a little bit about. And there's plenty of those in today's episode, so get hyped for that. And normally what we do is we play some sort of game or just some kind of icebreaker. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to jump right into the clips. However, I do want to make 2 little caveats before we get into the action. So number 1, I want to let everybody know, in case you did not see it on our Twitter, that we have permanent fixtures of 2 old Sneak Attack t-shirts that are back on our Cotton Bureau merch store. They're permanent. There's no time limit on them. They're not going to disappear after 2 weeks. They're up there. It's the Volume 2 shirt, the awesome sci-fi, like robotic inspired Volume 2 logo, as well as the Carl's Repair Best in the Space Industry t-shirt. Both of them are now permanent fixtures on the store, thanks to our friends at Cotton Bureau. Seriously, guys and gals, go on Twitter, give Cotton Bureau a follow. They're not only have been great to work with for the last several years of us producing merch, but also they're very active on Twitter. And if you buy a shirt and have a problem, you can reach out and they will write back. You can DM them. I've done it before, and they immediately, they're very quick to respond. And they've just been really great partners on our merch progress with us, and so we really appreciate that. There's also still a handful of pins left. If you didn't see our pin packs, they'll be listed on the link in the description of this episode, as well as the YouTube video. There will be a link to our storefront, which will have the pins in them as well. Mike designed them. We
got to get all that great PP.
It's
pin packs.
They're so good. They're so good. Everything on the store is just absolute fire. So we appreciate Cotton Bureau for that. Second thing is I want to know how everyone's doing. We're not going to jump, I guess, right into the clips, but I do want to know how everyone's doing.
well, I have an announcement.
Okay.
Based on the video here, all 4 of us, 4 dads, have facial hair now.
Is that an announcement or more of just an observation?
I think it's an announcement.
It's really funny because I thought you were gonna say something about your family, but I was gonna interrupt you and say you've got facial hair, but that was literally your announcement.
You got it. You should have.
I was gonna make a jokey interruption, but that was literally it.
Yeah, you should have next time.
Dude, it looks great, man. You look refined and
thanks.
mature. Yeah. Also, you could be out to avenge your dead father.
That's
Maybe.
definitely the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
You're
looking for a 6-fingered man.
Yeah, you're trying to work your way up in some taekwondo ranks, and the only reason you joined is because you got beat up as a kid, and now you're just trying to never be beat up again, but also bury the trauma in your past.
That's it.
I was going for a Spaniard.
I'm just trying not to get carded at the club anymore.
The club. You go to clubs now. We're quarantined. This is called quarantine content.
Oh, it's
And
quarantine
Dan's going
club.
out to clubs.
I guess we know why we're quarantined.
Yeah, I guess I know why we can't meet in person there.
One of us is really hunting for Corona out in the wild. Gotta give me that.
I'm eradicating it. I'm hunting it down.
Anybody feeling sick?
Did you say you're looking for
I need you
eradicate?
to cough on me.
That's a different kind of hunting, Dan. You're not hunting Pokemon. Josh, how are things?
Good, man. We're currently Diana does not want to sleep in the bed, and so she sleeps on one of us most of the time. And we've been able to get like I think 2 hours is the max we've been able to get her to sleep in her crib. But for the most part, she just won't. She won't. And so to get a good night's sleep, usually one of us has to be holding her. And so we've been on a bit of like a day-night cycle where one of us like sleeps during the day, one of us sleeps during the night,
Just tag out.
yeah. So this is my like afternoon right now, kind of like my life is just weird right now. So I go to bed as the sun rises.
Yeah. When my son was first born, I was the exact same way. I would most of the time go to bed as Tiffany was waking up because Mason did a really good job of sleeping, like not necessarily in our arms. Like he had a little like carrier thing that he slept in as well, and we transitioned him to his crib at like 2 months or something. And that's not like that's what you should do.
That's what we're
just
hoping for.
Yeah. That's just what worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
But he would still wake up pretty regularly, and so I just took the night shift to let I let
calm
Tiffany
him down.
sleep. Yeah, so I just let Tiffany sleep as much as possible, and so I was just up all night, and then I would sleep from like 6 until I don't know, like noon or 2 or something, and then just do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't honestly mind. I'm like that sounds terrible to like not be like on the same schedule as your spouse, but honestly, I just
sleep. You're both getting sleep then.
Yeah, I preferred to do it so she could get some sleep.
That's the trade-off. Like I know like my brother, like he said neither of them were getting much sleep because they both were just kind of tagging in and out at all hours of the day. He said by the time she finally started, like it got so bad, he said he was hallucinating at times from lack of sleep. It was just
that seems like an unsafe situation to be
exhausted. I don't think it was like extreme hallucinations. Like I don't think he was seeing the blue man, but like I think it was just like thinking you hear a door open or someone said something and they didn't. Yeah. Here's the deal though. I'm not entirely certain how to deal with my baby when she's awake. Like, cause I am the nighttime parent. And so she went to bed early yesterday. And so this morning she woke up early and Kels was still asleep and I didn't want to wake her up. So I was like, what do I do with this thing that's awake? And like her eyes are wide open. She's looking around. She's making weird noises at me. And so I played with her. Like we went and I put out her toys. I put her under one of those things with like lights and little pinwheel thing. And she played with that for a while. And then I picked her up and we just looked at each other and she started talking to me. Like she was just making noises. And so rather than like be all like oogie boogie, I just had a conversation with her. I was like, so tell me how you're doing. You having the right time? Like everything going okay? Am I doing an all right job? And she'd just be like, I got back, woo woo woo. And it was the absolute best. Like I hadn't had that experience with her yet, so I was like made my day. And I'm like, that's all I want now. So I have to get out of night shift.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
Tiff and I, very early on, we said we didn't want to do the whole baby talk thing with our kids. Again, not from any like research we read or anything like
looking
that.
down on anybody.
Right. This isn't a judgment thing. It was just like that's to us. It was just like that's probably not helping him, like long term. So it's like I'm just gonna like talk to him, not to be like, hello, son, like been productive today. I not like I'm his boss or something. I'm just gonna talk to him like a human being and hope that he kind of picks up on it that way. He still doesn't talk much, and he's almost 2, so I don't think it necessarily worked for us. But
it's amazing to me, like how many parents, like of like infants, like have such strong opinions about what you do, how you treat them, how like when it's like, look at any adult you would not be able to tell. Like this kid was breastfed for the first 3 months. This kid was definitely a bottle fed. Like it ultimately does not have so grand an impact that we can actually like see it in people as adults. Like
92% of all CEOs of Fortune 500 companies were breastfed. Josh,
it's like our kids in the 90th percentile of like mobility control, and it's like yeah, like
10% of the time he doesn't quite get it, but
it's like eventually that won't matter anymore.
Yeah, no, it actually doesn't matter very early, which is funny, but
there's such strong opinions. So it's just,
very strong.
Like I respect it all. You know what I mean? Do what you feel like is best for your kid.
Yeah,
no big deal.
That's at the end of the day. Just do what you feel is best, so long as it's safe and not hurting anybody. If
you're present and you're loving them, that's such a big contribution, in my opinion. Just being around.
I agree. What about you, Mike? How's your last couple weeks been?
Good. Can't complain. Just over here doing work.
But you shared, Mike and I, we chatted recently, and he told me something that was very near and dear to my heart because it immediately brought me back to elementary school. And do you want to share what that was, Mike?
That's a personal thing between me and you, and how dare you bring it up
Okay,
like
that's
this.
fair. No, that's why I segued to you. I threw it back.
Hey,
I threw it back to you.
There are creams for that.
Throwing it right back. My son's very much into Pokemon, so he's collecting all the cards, and he just got a binder today. So he's been in his room for probably like 2 hours now, sorting them out with colors, and the good ones go in the back. And the school he's at right now, basically I ask him how he's doing, and he just tells me, well, I didn't make very many Pokemon trades today.
It was
and I go, what are you
trader
doing there?
Like he's a stock
He's a
trader. I didn't do a lot of trades today. We're letting the
trading
market
in
work
elementary
itself
school.
out. Then we're gonna make our move.
That's
I'm
a
like, are you doing
serious
anything
thing
else
right now.
there? He's big on the trades. Very high in the Snorlax stock. He basically will trade anything for Snorlax.
He's a smart kid. He's a smart
He's a
kid.
good man.
Gen 1, man.
man.
You got to
We
go
raised
for
him
Gen
right.
1.
Oh, that's so fun. It's like that was me in 4th grade, man. 4th grade, I carried around a binder in my backpack that was bigger than all my other school binders and notebooks and school books. And every day in between classes, because when 4th grade for me, we weren't in the same area all day long. We actually migrated a little bit, like around the same central location, but we moved from class to class, similar to like junior high and high school. And so in between classes, when we were walking, we'd have like 5 or 10 minutes. I would just open up the binder. People would flock and be like, "All right, like let's wheel and deal. Like, what do you got? I got 3 Wigglytuff. Like, who wants best offer for a Wigglytuff?" So, yeah,
I was the kid that kept them in a Ziploc bag and like the edges were
you
frayed.
would.
Nobody
You
wanted
would.
to trade with me. And my brother, though, he had the binder. He also had he would have like special cases for ones he really liked. He had a shiny Charizard.
Yeah.
When we were in elementary school, we threw him away.
Yeah, I mean, we had similar upbringings too, Josh. I think we all remember that point in like the early 2000s where we're like, "Oh, Pokemon are evil," but we didn't believe it. We were just told Pokemon are evil.
Well, it's like we were given a paper written by folks on the family, and it was like my parents were like, "You
Danny,
guys can
don't laugh. That is so your family.
You guys can make your own decision." This is what my parents said. You can make your own decision, but we want you to read this article.
But the wrong one might send you to hell.
Like, but for real though, like it was up to us, which is cool. Like I appreciate my parents like encouraging our own agency, but they didn't really do like opposition research at all. So it was just one perspective. But and me and Ricky talked about it. I remember as kids being like, "Do we keep them? Do we throw them away?" And
you keep the good ones, but then throw away the others.
Yeah, we just chucked them. I think we were kind of done with it too. You know?
Yeah, I did too.
So it's like
I did too.
I was gifted.
I don't remember crying about it.
First Harry Potter book before it was a big deal, and I got a chapter into it before my parents were like, "This is about witches, so you can't have it."
Kelsey's parents read Harry Potter to them, and they specifically said, "Don't tell your friends at church we do this."
Yeah, like Kelsey's parents were like, pretty high leadership for a long time. So
yeah, they also
really
like
rocking the boat.
They also drank, and you know what I mean. But not like they did it responsibly.
Smoke pot responsibly.
I didn't. Yeah. I don't know about that.
Grow poppies responsibly sourced poppies.
Her dad's a lawyer, so I don't think he was doing anything illegal.
No, it's exactly like Breaking Bad. You know the laws. That's how you can get around them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, her mom is a scientist, so microbiologist.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together. They definitely sell heroin. I mean, I'm just saying. It's like a 99% chance they sell heroin.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. It all makes too much sense. They live pretty well below their means. Like
trying not to cause a stir,
under the radar. They're the Gus Fring of Nebraska. I'm just gonna say it.
The Gus Fring. Oh,
that's a Breaking Bad reference. Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate just
Reid satisfied. We got to Breaking Bad. Now he's good.
Yeah, now I'm good. That's ultimately everything I do in my life. I just want to point in the direction of Vince Gilligan. Gosh, I got Gus Fring on the mind. Vince Gilligan and anything Breaking Bad related. So like,
Reid, how are you doing? Your basement's looking a little different.
Yeah, we're moving. Still, this is okay. When we started this process back in like November, they're like, it's like a 6-month process. So, that's what you should expect, like April, May. We close in September, so it's just been the worst, and I'm not really complaining about it because the way everything worked out is very fortunate for us. We were able to sell our house quickly, and it was a private sale. I've told the story, I believe. We're very fortunate in the way everything worked out. We're very lucky, and we don't even own this house anymore. We're renting it because we closed on it already, and like everything's already all good to go. So we're literally just renting it month to month, and then
Wow.
when we close, we move out. Yeah, it's literally the easiest, most stress-free
That's cool.
house sale I've ever been a part of. I've only been a part of 2, but the first one much more stressful. But yeah, so we're in the process of packing everything up, but we're still living here. So we've in probably the next 2 weeks, we'll go real hard in the paint and only have the essentials out and not boxed up. And then 3 weeks from now, we'll be packing a truck. So
I like that the first stuff you moved were your video games and movies.
it's just the stuff that I touch
That's
the
most
least.
important.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that you touched the.
No, honestly, I would pack everything except for 4 forks, 4 plates, 4 cups. Like that's it. But Tiffany's like, no, we need to Mason has toys that he wants to play with. I'll be like, he can have a ball. That's
He's got
fine.
2 hands.
Yeah, two hands and an imagination. Like what else do you
These are
need?
2 amazing toys.
Yeah,
And they're
the-
attached to you.
the 5 toys at the end of your arm. Yeah, that's what I was always told.
Now go
So-
play with yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So, anywho, that's kind of been my life lately. Gonna gloss right over that.
Sorry.
And yeah, that's pretty much how that's been. So ready to move, ready to be done with it. We're sourcing bids for fences, and boy, do you know how expensive fences are.
Oh, in that corner lot, baby.
Yeah, it's a weird shaped lot. It's bigger. I mean, it's not huge by any means, but it's bigger than what we have now, and we're the first fence on the property, so we have to fence all of it. We don't get to take advantage of a neighbor's pre-existing fence, and so yeah, it's
Privacy fence.
it's a privacy fence. Yeah, so it's where the first bid came in, and I was
That's some lumber
Okay.
right there.
yeah, I need to start calling other places. You know what I mean? I need to source this bad boy out.
And you don't got neighbors on the other side that you can go like, hey, you want to go in on this with us?
Go
Get a-
halvesies.
Yeah.
Literally, there's no houses around us right now. Well, there's one going up, but it's not even sold yet. It's just like a builder is building it and then hoping to sell it.
Yeah.
Which
I
I
thought
think
about that with one of our neighbors, like just
Really?
going over and being like, hey, what do you think about a privacy fence? I don't want to see you guys anymore.
like your face. I hate it. So
It's our backyard neighbors because our dog loves to bark at them. And I'm like, if we get a privacy fence,
Yeah.
That's it.
in our current house, me and my dad built our privacy fence, and our dogs still bark at the other dogs and the other
Didn't
side.
change anything.
They'll just hear them, and then they'll be like, "Rah, rah, 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 I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here." Like,
Our dog
that's-
looks like she can jump over the fence though, like
I
the
actually believe she could.
the chain link fence. I think she could. I don't think she believes she could, which is
Right. That's
which
the
is
important.
most important. Yeah.
Yeah, is keeping that sense of
Keeping the
insecurity.
mind chained.
the leash it within our minds.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's us getting caught up again. I just like chatting with you guys because we don't get to hang out in person anymore, and it's good just to shoot the breeze and just know what's going on. I care about you guys. I care about your lives, so it's good to be able to do that, even if it's going to go out to thousands of people. So, anywho, next let's transition into the clip phase of the episode, and again, this is the part where people, the fans, our listeners, have submitted clips. There's a link to the Google form in the description of the episode that will provide a link to the Google form, and in there you can fill out all the things. But help me out. I'm the one sourcing through all these requests. And by the way, we're literally not making any ground. We'll do 6, 7 clips in an episode, and we'll have 10 new submissions by the time we do another episode. So we're always just gaining numbers. It's insane. But do me a favor, if you fill out one of these Google forms, help me out. Please submit a timestamp. I cannot stress this enough. Please submit a timestamp. Just saying the episode, the episode number, very helpful. But if you just say the part of the episode you think is funny, that does not help me. I'm not going to listen to an hour-long episode in search of whatever it is you're referencing. So please, please, please give me a timestamp. 35 minutes, 20 seconds to 37 minutes even. You know what I mean? Something like that would just help me out a ton. But
We can just do what the sitcom podcasts are doing. We'll re-listen to every single episode and give live commentary.
I mean, no thanks, man. That seems really tough. So, okay. So let's start with the first clip. This first one is from Ellen, who actually had numerous submissions on the last quarantine content episode. So Ellen just, again, went very hard in the paint and just had a lot to say. But I have a feeling this clip is going to be one a lot of you are interested in. So Danny, go ahead and roll the first one.
The way the barrier works is people and objects can pass freely into it. You're not going to like bump into it with the barrier. It'll just kind of wrap itself around it. So, you guys, you spot this out of the corner of your eye, Greg, and as you get closer to this like mysterious object, you notice that it appears to be unaffected by rust and decay, which seems very strange for metal to be down here this long and not be rusty. Just got like some moss and other overgrowth on it. You kind of guide Milo because you can't really branch too far outside of this bubble.
I see.
So you kind of guide Milo this
I
direction.
start walking my own way and just...
Yeah, just immediately drown. But you place your hand on this object and you realize it's not made of steel at all, which is really the only metal you're really familiar with.
It's a tooth.
It's this strange metal you've never seen before.
Unobtainium.
It's unobtainium.
I knew it.
But as you wipe away some of the moss, you see 4 letters, like carved into the side.
Milo.
What?
It says Milo.
No, the letters are PNMV, and
PUMV.
that's not what I said.
PNMV.
MV.
Thank you.
It is Phantom November Mama Victor.
Is that what it stands for? Or those are
That's like the call signs.
Yeah, duh, Kelsey. that's
Papa
the
November
call
Mama Victor.
You thought he spelled pump.
sign. Papa, Mama, Cobbler, Victor.
But there's also a word after those letters. It's the word Juno, but like this, like the capital of Alaska, not like the tea leaf.
Or the movie.
Oh yeah.
Or the email
Ellen
provider.
DeGeneres.
Or the email provider.
Ellen DeGeneres. That's a good joke. Oh, yeah. So Ellen, and the message accompanying this submission was just a lot of like, what the heck, you know, what's going on here? It's been
Even us hanging here.
It's,
Clearly, it's a spaceship.
It's been 2 years. What the heck? So,
Where did Juno at?
I did say, and I said it when I said it at the time. I didn't honestly think I would have to own up to my end of the deal here, but I did say if the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, I would explain the meaning of the PNMV Juno at the bottom of the pearl. And people have called me out on it. I will admit, people have called me out on it. I've just kind of ignored it. And then I saw it in the Google form, and I said, okay, I have to address it. It's come up enough, and I do owe it. I do owe it to the people who I promised. So, I don't want to disappoint anybody. It's nothing. I mean, like, it's obviously a reference to Volume 2. Obviously a reference to Volume 2. As to like why it's there and who put it there, it's a complete it's a complete nothing.
Is that what we were going to call the ship originally? Isn't that what we were going to call our ship? I thought that's what you guys were. We literally had like a text conversation.
We talked about it, but like
and Juno came up and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea." Or at least Danny was.
Yeah, but like it's not necessarily like the ship that Mike's called the ship numerous different things. Yeah, Walter, and now it's the R.L. Stein, and so
that's right.
And so
it's so much better than Juno.
Yeah, so like at this point, Juno is nothing. It might be the very last episode of Volume 2. You guys get on a new ship called the PNMV Juno, and you sail through a wormhole and then like never to be seen again. Like it's entirely possible I do that. Seems unlikely that I will.
Are there more PMNVs out there?
Oh yeah, it stands for Private Non-Military Vessel. So yeah, PNMV, Private Non-Military Vessel. I think I've also changed it sometimes to just be NMV, Non-Military Vessel, or P or like sometimes I'll just use like the planetary system, so it'll be like SMV, like or HMV, Helios Military Vessel, or Helios Non-Military Vessel, something like that.
Rotarian.
I just kind of like maneuver it because I looked it up even before, like going way back to the Pomp and Circumstance, like the ship from Volume 1. I looked up what do the letters mean? Like, is there a standard for what like how ships are named, and there's not. Like people like Star Trek, the USS, it's just what they decided to call it. Or it's not USS. What is it?
Starship.
It's USS Enterprise. I'm
Is it
pretty sure
USS Enterprise? Okay.
United
Space System.
Space
I
System.
think. I think. But like the 3 letters or the number of letters are completely decided upon by the country or by the party responsible for naming the ship. So it's just kind of like whatever anyone wants. So that's why there's never really been a ton of consistency, because every system has their own naming structure. And sometimes people put military in it. Sometimes they put non-military. And it's really just a way for if someone like scans the vessel and sees like flags the ID, they can know right away, oh, this is a problem. It's a military vessel, like a whole fleet of them, or it's no big deal. This is a non-military vessel, blah, blah, blah. But
like a ship naming folder system.
kind of. It's like a Rolodex, but for ships.
Yeah. In the PMNV section, you've got the Papa, Mama, Nana Vector.
Nana Vector. Yep, that's it. And but yeah, that's it. Again, I'm sorry to disappoint. It doesn't mean anything specifically, but I was clearly a volume 2, just like a little flake at like, oh, volume 2's coming. It's going to be like in space with ships and stuff, and that was really it. I just wanted to have
near
some
the
fun
end.
with it. It was, yeah, that was right before you guys got the pearl
The
for
last
the amulet.
stone, yeah.
Yep. Also, not the last time we're going to hear from some pretty late in Volume 1 episodes. So we'll get to those a little bit later. So, Dan, why don't you hit us with clip number 2?
Colonel Sterling Biloxi.
What do you want us to call you?
You can call me Colonel.
Fine.
No. No.
But I insist, you boy.
No. No, whatever this is right here. No.
What kind of sword you got there, Colonel?
This is my long sword, issued to me as a dragoon.
Oh, God.
Please fan art. Please all the fan art.
Did we step into the Chronicum again and like go to a different?
my gosh.
I'm just. Wow, you're just
oh my gosh.
you're an interesting man.
This guy reminds me.
I've never had a more difficult time RPing than right now.
I think we're RPing properly. This is how they would react.
I love that sigh of defeat at the end by Josh. Just like, this is going to be a thing.
Just I love Mike's just honest to God response.
Like,
no.
nope.
To all of whatever this is.
All of this, just pack it up, put it in a bag, get it out of here. Like, that was from Josh A, by the way. Thank you, Josh. And honestly, there wasn't a whole lot that he wanted to like expand it on further. Just wanted to relive the moment of the Colonel's introduction. That was the very first time that the Colonel was introduced to the party. That was right after the Temple Saga, where you guys defeated Melius, but Akio unfortunately died to Delphina.
Didn't Dan still have to come to the games that he wasn't speaking in?
Of course.
He's like sitting on the couch or
I made Mike and Dan both, even when they didn't have characters in play, attend. Dan, I think, even had to show up for like 2 full episodes and say nothing.
What, Danny? Did you ever explain like where you got the Colonel from?
I don't.
Like how you came up with the
Captain
voice and the
Crunch?
character?
I don't know if I did, but I also don't think I mean, I just pulled him out of a hat.
Yeah. How can you explain the birth of such genius?
There's one character he played. There's one character Danny played in a campaign I DM'd for him and a couple buds, and his character I wish would have made it to Sneak Attack at some point. Do you remember your character?
No.
Ishiban?
Oh, yeah.
Ishiban says what? He talked like fat.
That's so cringe.
God. And he could not say a single line in the campaign without bursting into laughter at himself the whole time.
Ichiban Szechuan. You know how it is.
I would have loved if he'd have made it.
Shout out to my boy Ishiwan. So that was also like one of the very last times that we saw Tegan as not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Because Tegan like recruited the Colonel after the Colonel was displaced from his home, and recruited him and said, "Hey, we're doing this thing. Would you have military background? You would obviously be well more equipped than anyone in this militia right now. So could you come in and provide some leadership?" And then you guys come back, and and Tegan reunited you guys. And then I think it was in that same kind of time and period where Brenna and Greg both had their come to Jesus moment with Tegan and say you look at the people you're leading. You need to get your crap together, kind of thing.
I'm a big role play moment I feel like we missed was questioning the Colonel's loyalties. I never thought about the fact that we learned that Tegan's a bad guy, but never really questioned whether or not the guy that Tegan gave us was
yeah, it's interesting.
Also a bad guy. So that would have been if I would have remembered if we had deeper role playing or a team of writers checking us on our continuity, we could have had
yeah, it's because we'll say 5 hours of actual in-game time can sometimes take months of recording time to actually achieve. And so something happens that seems like it is a logical conclusion to something that was set up not too long ago was actually half a year ago, and you're like, wait a minute, what? Tegan? Yeah, he introduced us, bud. So it gets tricky, but I thought you guys handled it fine. And maybe it was probably a scenario too where the Colonel earned his loyalty to the group along the way.
Well, so before that became
when Tegan ended up being a bad guy, that no one was like, wait a minute, what do you know?
We may not have learned about Tegan's bad guyness till we lost the Colonel too. I can't remember.
Well, it's possible. That's possible. I don't remember when all that went down. It's so interesting, man. Listening to these clips, there's so much I don't remember. It is we could fill a book, or rather a volume of episodes on the internet of things about Volume 1 I do not remember. And it is actually embarrassing to me. But also, it's very fun to go back and listen to these clips because it's almost like listening for the first time in some regard. And you almost even though we were a part of it, and I remember what it was like at the table, it's almost like listening as a fan of being oh, I wonder what's going to happen next because I've genuinely forgotten.
Going back and listen to the episode's hard. For me, it's hard because I hear everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And slow moments feel extra slow to me, and when I lag on an edit, I hate it. And so I love this version of going back is my favorite because it's just little snippets and it's not like having to go through the whole thing again.
Yeah. Well, it's fun too because the audience deemed it significant enough for us to go back and listen to it. So we know there's a nugget there that we don't even have to go digging for.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. Okay. Thank you, Josh, for submitting that one, and thank you, Ellen, for submitting the first clip. Let's go to the next clip, which was submitted by Connolly.
Listen, lady, let's do the deal.
Draw me a picture.
Oh my goodness.
I demand a picture.
Let's do it.
On what? What am I going to draw a picture on?
Draw it for real.
Okay.
Yeah, draw
Who's drawing? Me or you?
Brenna, draw it. She's got the artistic vision.
Yeah, the spectacles are going.
She's drawing the
Ronald
proboscis creature.
It was proboscis first. It was a bold choice. Oh, that dude's jacked. That dude's got some ripped.
Now it makes sense why he almost killed Greg.
Oh, we're getting weird.
Oh, abs.
Oh, wow.
He's got abs.
Dang, dog. This guy is not top heavy.
It's not a guy.
Those are pecs.
Okay,
Have you never
okay.
seen pecs?
Okay.
This is real good podcast material. I understand that.
Real visual.
Well, we got to tweet a picture of it,
Yeah,
right?
we'll tweet a picture.
Oh.
You know when they have really big calves?
Okay.
Could this go in the fan art area of our website?
This is the only canon art we've ever had. It's
ooh, and it's from me. This is bad, guys.
This is taking over the main image.
This is literally what Brenna drew.
I'm shuddering looking at this picture.
He's so
so lifeless, so angry.
Come at me.
Come at me, bro.
That I love Ronald. He ended up taking on a life of his own from
Our Trogdor.
Yes, he is our Trogdor. It was this horrible drawing that became a meme within the community, and then literally some of the best fan art we've ever gotten emerged from the redraw, like hashtag redraw my art prompt.
The level of fan art that character got is equivalent to some of our player characters.
Yeah, I think Ronald got more fan art than like Milo and the Colonel, and that's not like
All right.
that tells you how beloved Ronald was, because Milo and the Colonel got a lot of fan art.
I love the Speedo one. That's my absolute
The
favorite.
very erotic Speedo one is just hilarious. It is perfect, and it captures the essence of what Kelsey was going for so beautifully, because he's like Johnny Bravo flexing and like doing like a kissy face at the same time. It's so great. So I don't know if there's a way that I can like link to that specific tweet because I don't know like where it is or anything. But if like, I'm sure if someone just Googles like Sneak Attack Twitter Ronald, you're probably going to find the image pretty like, or Sneak Podcast Twitter Ronald. You're probably going to find the image pretty quickly. So if we can find it, I'll include it as a link in the description. But oh my gosh, go back and look through some of those threads of people that submitted fan art. It is one of my most favorite thing. But also, while listening to that clip, it made me realize that only now, that was episode 88. So that would be somewhere we started in like June of 2015. So that'd be somewhere in like the early 2017 range.
February 2017.
Yep. Thank you. So
I found some of the fan art, but I haven't found
awesome.
the original
So
post.
February 2017 is when that episode aired, and only now, 3.5 years later, do we have official canonical art for some characters in Sneak Attack. If you haven't seen it yet, it's totally fine. We have a print that we talked about for our patrons, our tier 3 patrons, as kind of like a last big hurrah before we kind of reassess what Patreon is going to look like at that tier. But we have that art is official. It's getting printed now, and then it'll be delivered to me hopefully in the next couple days, maybe a week or so. It's amazing. It is official canonical art, and it's all the Volume 2 characters, including NPCs, and it's really, really great. Josh must have found it.
I haven't seen it yet. Where is it?
Wait, you haven't seen the finished version?
No, the canonical photo? No.
Okay, well, after the recording, I'll send it in Discord.
I was looking for Ronald, but now I'm looking for that.
How have I'm pretty positive I sent it to everybody, but maybe I did not, and that's on me. I apologize. But
that's okay. Before
we get too deep into things that aren't related to clips, just want to say thank you to Connolly. I love Ronald. He's one of the OGs, one of my favorite NPCs. And he's just an enemy. He's not an NPC. He's just an enemy that took on a life on his own within the community, much like the Mishi Slug and much like the Tupe Eel, which doesn't even exist. It's just its own life force now, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. So, Dan, let's hit us with clip number 4.
What I'm looking for, let's say, someone's poisoned, just a little bit, but it's pretty bad. Could spread. Do you have anything like topical? I don't want to really drink something, but maybe like hide it, or if you get rid of it, that'd be great too. Just for like a friend I know. I don't think, not me or anything.
He kind of like hobbles up to you, and he like gets real close, like really into your personal space.
Yeah.
And he starts like sniffing around your head.
Hey!
He like bends down and
I push him back. Chill.
He kind of like lifts your arm a little bit and like checks under your armpit. He's like, "You don't seem diseased."
I never said that. I said I know. Maybe my friend has an illness.
Yeah, what's his name?
Tom. Tom Butterworth.
Wait,
do you know of him?
Of the Antwood Butterworth?
Yeah, of course. Old Tom and his wife, Maggie.
Tom and Maggie?
Yeah.
Roll me a bluff.
That was such a great lying voice. And Maggie.
That's a 0, so 6.
He goes, "I'm not familiar with the Butterworths, but it sounds very dangerous indeed."
Yeah, I was making it up. They're dead or something. I don't know. Anyways, and I kind of like am pushing back a little bit and kind of going towards the door. I just need some antitoxin.
I love watching Mike's face when we play a clip where he's the primary communicator, because it's a look of confusion immediately. He's like, "Wait a minute, I don't remember this at all."
I don't.
I know you don't. And so, like watching him trying to connect the dots of what is even being said, or like what the context is amazing. I
At first, I thought that was going to be the weird looking potion vendor.
That's right
scene.
before. That's right
Okay.
before. So like, I'm pretty sure Mike was Sherwood was looking for antitoxin after his shadow sword exploded in his hand, and he found someone. He's like, you need to get like vampire ash and blah blah blah. You killed Orlanx the Eternal in the Halloween episode, and then used that vampire ash to make an antitoxin. And then right after he drank the antitoxin, he went to the Egg McMuffin guy, and the Egg McMuffin guy was weirded out by him. So like, it's all part of that same sequence. I think I might be combining narratives, and all of our listeners who know our show way better than I do can yell at me at Sneak Podcast. Don't tweet at my personal Twitter. That'd be really mean.
This is so cool, Reid. Mike
What?
just texted it to me.
Oh, did he really?
The final image.
Okay, awesome.
Even Cole's eating the pickle.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to do it on the recording. Like,
So suave.
I'm sorry.
So suave.
It's good, and we're working on a solution to offer the print as a poster, like in poster size, out on Cotton Bureau as well. It's not a for sure thing. So if you didn't get in the tier 3 Patreon signed numbered print that we're going to be sending out later this month, maybe you can get a poster. It's going to be limited. I don't know. We're working it out. No promises. Zero
This
promises.
makes me want a graphic novel, Reid. This makes me want a graphic novel. That's all
Adam
I'm
is
saying.
so
And
good. It is
everyone else will. Everyone else is going to want a graphic novel.
unreal how good of an illustrator Adam Kovar is. It's so stupid. Anyways, so if I'm wrong about those narratives with the Shadow Sword and the Egg McMuffin and the antitoxin, I apologize, listeners. But specifically, what Kiernan wanted to know, or wanted to like expand further on, thank you, Kiernan, is Mike's improv ability. Just coming up with the fake names, do we give Mike enough credit for his improv ability?
I don't think so. I don't think we give Mike any credit towards improv, just acting in general. I'd love to hear everybody just take some time and talk about that a little bit if they want.
Yeah, Dan, fire away.
Dan, go ahead. Dan, is your mic on?
Dan, you're muted.
Dan, you're muted.
I mean, Butterworth was okay.
Oh, okay. What would you have said?
I
He would have said Krusty Krab. Only
Listen,
to change
guys,
it.
Mike's role playing saved our marriage. That's all I have to say. His
Big
ability
true.
to role play.
Big true.
So there
My
you
role
go.
playing brought you to Jesus.
There's
Save my soul.
Led that man to Jesus right there.
I laid him out.
I crumpled him.
I crumpled that kid, and then I got down and I led him to Jesus right there.
He walked into the church and he said, "I'm the pastor now."
So
He
good.
said, "When are you going to stop playing games with God?" I led that man to Jesus right there.
Roll a d20 right now.
If you're not familiar with that meme, please.
It's a meme, guys.
It's like an actual story that some like TV preacher tells. It's so.
It's
funny.
kind of cringy though.
Oh, it's so cringy, but that's what makes
sorry.
it funny.
Sorry.
Thank you, Kiernan, for that. Again, we don't get enough like just Mike talking clips because Mike was usually one of the more silent characters, which we actually go into a little bit more detail here on our very last clip. But it's always fun to have like someone we don't hear from very regularly get like a whole clip to themselves and just like get the platform to be able to spread their wings and spread their improv chops a little bit and fly. So that was really great. Thank you, Kiernan. This next one is
It's hard when Josh is talking the whole time though, Reid. So I'll just say that.
Listen, I'm the one, like, I have to talk, and sometimes I'm just like, Josh, put a cork in it. I need to get my stuff out so you can talk.
Josh,
then.
come on. There's other people like at the table. So,
Guys, just send me beautiful art. That's all you have to do. Send me art to look at.
Yeah, Josh is like, wait, are we still doing clips? I'm just like pinch and zooming into this picture. So
we
I'm
need Josh, though. I'm
laughing about
we
space
need him for the
pickles.
lore.
I was trying to figure out
We
who
need
all of the characters in the background are.
You can't figure. There's a couple.
I don't know what
that
everybody is.
There's a couple that are probably not super obvious, but anywho, we're not here to talk about the print, Josh.
Come on, Josh.
Let's do clip number. Let's do clip number 5.
Don't want me to eat waffles, then don't take me to the Waffle House.
This clip number 5 submitted by Jim G. So what's so special about this chicken? Why not just take his? And he points to Sherwood.
I bought it with my own gold. I've even named it
A lot of people name the pets. I mean,
It's kind of a key ingredient for a little enterprise I'm running.
he like gestures to you to come down closer to his level. Says, what kind of enterprise are we talking about here?
Partner.
Akio looks around and then leans in and says, well, I'm not sure you could handle it.
He kind of like, strains his shirt a little bit. Goes, son, I can handle this. Now, here's the thing. You must not be from around here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking for your chicken. You'd have it with you, see?
That logic makes no sense, by the way.
I got connections. I know people. People give me respect. You see this? And he points to the crest, the same, because he's got the same armor, similar armor. He goes, I walk into any tavern in here. Drinks all around. They just give them to me. They're pouring them at me. Because I'm a man who commands respect.
Do like an insight check or something. Is this real? I don't know.
If you're talking about what do we say, a money-making opportunity, then I think I'm the man who can get you what you need.
You get me the chicken, we'll talk.
Ooh. It's a good opportunity to pay old Cassida a visit, eh? Maybe go see her, you know what I'm saying? Well, where you...
That was it, right?
No, you just ended it.
Oh, I thought it restarted.
No, it's a long one, admittedly. We don't have to go through it again. It's fine. It's Gin Rummy. Everyone knows Gin Rummy. Everyone loves Gin Rummy. Gin Rummy is the people's champion. But specifically with Jim G, who I think is Jim Gaffigan. So shout out to Jim Gaffigan for listening to the podcast.
He's got some good stuff out.
Yeah, Cinco, pretty decent stand-up special. Jim G specifically wanted to know, did Gin Rummy ever capitalize on his money-making opportunity? And the answer is a definitive 100% not a chance. The dude is
huckster.
He's like the Tom Haverford of High Rock. He's so self-important, but has zero actual clout. But man, I love
Tom made it work with that boutique.
That's true. Rent a swag.
He had to get pretty darn humbled, though.
It's true. He had to get knocked down several pegs after Entertainment 720.
No.
Come on, Ron. You and me cuddle up like puppies.
Just a puppy.
Just a puppy, Ron. Just a puppy. But no, Gin Rummy never made a dime. Died alone, poor, homeless.
Oh.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
You hate to see it.
Wasn't he a guard?
He was part of the High Rock Guard.
Well, a lot of guards did not make it in that.
It's true. Even if they somehow managed to survive the time jump and the occupation and everything like that, there's a good chance they lost it in the fight with Val.
He probably turned into a monster. Let's be honest.
Yep. So Gin Rummy, one of my favorite NPCs. And I know I talk about this often during quarantine content episodes because I'm just always reminded of the fact of how silly one-off things can end up turning into such monumental moments or experiences within the podcast. Obviously, there's Detective Sherwood. We just had the Ronald drawing, Gin Rummy. They're all just things that just happen, serendipitously, just spontaneously, and just balloon into these hilarious moments or these things that end up meaning more in the grand scheme of things than we ever anticipated. So D&D is the only storytelling medium that I can think of that actually allows for such spontaneity to exist and for things to be transformed and become something bigger than the sum of their parts. And it's what keeps me wanting to play the game, man, and really just be able to share these moments and experiences with our friends. And again, the opportunity to look back on them and just laugh at how goofy and outrageous and nonsensical they are is just really, really great. I enjoy this so much. So thank you, Jim G, for submitting that. Unfortunately, Danny got an itchy trigger finger over there, and we didn't hear the rest. That was most of it, but that was an admittedly long clip. I will give him some slack there. So, Dan, let's do clip number 6. I will tell you when it's over.
We're here because I have to do something for the Chancellor.
I know. Okay, who did that?
Are we having this conversation right now?
Yes, we are.
Chip,
Because I'm
I
kind
don't
of
think this
losing
is
my
the
mind
place.
on why you want to stay here.
We're okay. I don't want to stay here. It was a simple mistake, officers. Please. We have children on our ship, a crew with families that need taken care of.
Now he's appealing to their sense of.
We have women and children.
What are you, their dad? Call it 4,000, and I will pray for you. I'll give you 4,000 and a prayer. How about that? That's a bold move.
Is that the title?
Yeah.
How about 4,000 and a prayer?
4,000 and a prayer.
Oh my gosh.
4,000 and a
Oh God.
What is wrong with you?
prayer. There are times where something so funny happens that Danny has this uncontrollable
My
fit of
favorite.
laughter.
It's
It is my
absolute
favorite thing on planet Earth. Is when Danny laughs, I think there's like 3 levels. Danny laughing just like, oh, it's something's funny. Like belly laughing, very funny. But then there's like an elevated, a different octave sort of laugh.
Like
and it's uncontrollable.
Jumps back like a Muppet.
Yeah. That one of my most favorite experiences of like being with the group, and unfortunately Mike wasn't a part of this. But is when we were in New York, driving to Poughkeepsie. We arrived in New York City. We got our rental car and we were driving to Poughkeepsie, and we were just like having fun, goofing off. It was late at night. It was starting to get really late. And
Mike, wasn't Mike part of this, or
Mike wasn't in New York. No,
okay.
It was just the 4 of us, and so we were goofing off. I was writing for the one-off we were doing later that weekend, and we were like looking at memes and talking and stuff like that. And we showed Danny a meme, and I don't know if it was the timing, the situation, or the setting, but Danny had the funniest reaction I've ever seen in my life, and it was the first time Josh and Kelsey had ever heard that sort of like Danny Newell laugh.
But so it was a meme, Reid. It was a meme of Mike that I made. That you guys had introduced me to a new meme, like theme.
It was
Harold.
the dying inside Harold. Yeah.
And I found a picture of Mike on Facebook where he looked like he was hating being where he was. Everyone in the picture is smiling, and Mike smiling does not look like he's actually happy. And so I have it's the 4-panel meme, and it slowly zooms into Mike, and the final panel is Harold. And you guys had just shown it to me, so I just learned about it, and I used it, and so Mike was a part of it. And
it's very great. I mean, like,
I'll never share it because I don't want to. But
no, those
I should have shared it with
yeah.
Mike, but I never did.
Those moments are just that's the kind of stuff I love. And thank you, Anaeo, who submitted that one. Anaeo, you the best. That's the last episode we've released, by the way. It was 4,000 and a prayer. That's the very last one we've ever put out, and it has one of, I think, the funniest moments in all of Sneak Attack history. With just that, and I will give you 4,000 and I'll pray for you. It's just such a perfect line.
Who knew that some of the worst role playing I've ever done would lead to a funny moment?
And that's it. Like, that's the thing. That's the beauty
I was
of
not
D&D.
on my game in that situation. I keep looking back and I'm like, what were you doing, man? Like, I feel like I abandoned Lucky in some ways, which makes me feel bad. But I have no idea how to rectify it other than mental illness, maybe. How do I reconcile this character at this point? He's just become so wacky and wild. So
that's the.
I'm glad that it resulted in a good laugh. You know what I mean? It's like, what's better than that?
And just going back, like, something so funny or weird or outrageous came from something like. There was a lot of drama leading up to that moment between Chip and Lucky, and the conflict of Chip's personality, like starting to remember these things that he doesn't want to remember, and he's only doing all this stuff because Lucky kind of forced him into it, and then like obviously the stuff in the bar we just kind of like meme at anymore, but then like leading out of that into this moment is just so great. Like it's a payoff for all of like the crappy rocky terrain we had to get over for that joke to land, and it was very funny. So thank you, Anaeo, for that. And I always like including Volume 2 ones because we don't hear a lot of Volume 2 ones in the clip show. I think probably because it's new, but also like, I think there's just a lot of love and reverence for Volume 1. So I always like throwing in a Volume 2 one if we get the opportunity. So, okay, let's do clip number 7. This is from Michael.
I closed my eyes for a really long time to not look at it and not be, to not see it. And something said to me to open my eyes and look for the good in that day, for something. And I need you. I need us. I need time. And he just drops to his knees and he starts reciting the wish spell.
What?
As he's reciting, Brenna kneels down next to him, and she puts his sweet little gnome face in her hands, and she goes, "Do you know what the good of that day was?" Keep reciting.
I'm reciting.
Okay. And she says, "The good of that day was you proved your friendship to us. You sacrificed yourself for us. My dad's not dead. My dad's fine. You sacrificed yourself again for my dad. You are good. You are a hero. You can do this."
And as she says that, Sherwood begins going through the motions of completing the wish spell. It's a long process, but something he has seen 5,362,489 times. A row, again and again, over and over, looking down at that wish spell before eating it. He has memorized every single piece of that spell with absolute certainty and perfection. So as Brenna kneels down in front of Sherwood, face in his hands, and Sherwood is just eyes closed, saying the words, acting out the motions with his hands, Valisar lands softly next to your platform.
Alrighty. So, that was obviously, for those of you who've listened to Sneak Attack before, that was from episode 156, the end part 3, the very, very last episode of Volume 1. And that was from Michael. Specifically, Michael asked, how many times did we cry during the finale? And I haven't listened to the finale since we put it out there. Like, so three years ago, it was 3 years, 2018, 2 years ago. I haven't listened to the finale in over 2 years. And so I knew I was gonna end that clip roughly around when I did. But when I was like sourcing it and listening to it and making sure that it was something that would work within the episode, I just ended up listening for like another 30 minutes. It's so good.
Really satisfying.
It's so good.
I'm so grateful we got the chord, the guitar piece of the Sherwood song. That's what's playing underneath it, which is just like, there's so many levels. It's amazing. And that was the thing you figured out while you were like deathly sick, weren't you? Like woke up in the middle of the night and we're like, the wish spell.
Yeah, it's I woke up in I was very, very sick with like influenza or something. And so I was sleeping on the couch and I was sweating just profusely. I was burning up. And so like in my semi-lucid state, I just woke up and I reached down on the floor and I grabbed my phone. And I just went, Sherwood uses the wish spell, Westrup brings him back. And I just like collapsed. And like, that's all I have written down in my notes. And it turned into something. And I called or texted Mike a little bit later because there was still quite a bit of time before the finale actually came to be. So I called Mike.
Secret from the rest of us.
Yeah, I kept it a secret from all of you for a while, and then I think I called Mike with like a month or 3 weeks or so before our last recording, and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is how we're going to do it. So just be prepared for the wish, like whatever you want that wish to be, and if you feel like it, please let me know what you want to say because R.A.P. me if I was going to try and make something up on the spot in response to what he wished for, but." It's also very funny because later on in the episode, I forget exactly what prompted it, but it was when Valasar like brings his sword down on you guys when you've got no aura, you've got no bubble. Sylvana's presence is gone, and he brings the sword down, and Graic meets the sword with the hammer, and it explodes, and this like flame V shoots around you, everybody, and like the moment after that, when all of the people, all of the druids and wizards and everyone standing firm with you guys on the mountain, they kind of regroup and bundle up together. And Josh, you have the barbarian music playing behind it because you're like you're
I kind of turned that into Graic's
his
theme.
theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was late in the game that I started thinking themes would be really cool, but yeah.
So
in retrospect, I would have loved to have done that throughout the whole.
Yeah.
There's this like insane part of me, Reid, that wonders what it would look like to
remix,
repolish like all of season 1. But I don't. That's like a. I feel like that's a 50 or 60-year-old Josh who's like has nothing left. You know what I mean?
Don't do that. That seems like an insane undertaking. But Kelsey does specifically say like I've cried 7 times already, like throughout that episode. Blah blah blah. So it was just good. It brought back a lot of memories and a lot of emotions, and I listened to it way more than I expected to, and I ended up like getting Danny the clips much later than I thought than I wanted to, because I listened to like an hour of that episode, and so it's good. It's really fun to go back to that moment. I get emotional thinking about it and like re-listening to it because, you know, for all of us, it was our first full campaign, and for it to have ended the way it did felt really satisfying at the time. And then I even went back. I don't know if I shared this or not, but I went back on our Twitter account 2 years ago. I went back to 2 years ago and was like looking at people's reaction and comments and stuff to the tweet I posted, being like, "Hey, finale's up. I hope everyone enjoys it." And I was just like getting emotionally overwhelmed at like how positively people were responding to it. And it's one of those things where like, man, you kind of forget sometimes of like the impact the show had on people and like what it really meant to them. And so going back and listening to it just like brought all of those emotions back up again. It was really, really fun, and not in a bad way, you know, like they're good emotions, but it was really great. So thank you, Michael, for submitting that, because again, I haven't listened to the finale in a very long time, so it felt good to kind of relive that. So last one, this is clip number 8. This is also the finale, but a very different part of it. This one was submitted by Jesse. So Dan, go ahead and take us out.
So, to catch you up, that's Milo. He's a halfling that jumped into our team when we went on a boat, right?
You're gonna love him.
He now has the amulet. And by the way, the amulet wasn't finished. It needed 3 stones. We got all the 3 stones, so it's finished. And now it contains the power of Sylvana herself, who we freed from the bottom of that, the Pearl in
that
Lorendale.
lake thing?
If you remember, we were there.
It was a lake.
We were at Wizard Tower, where the Death Mirrors thing started. And now, Balasar's been freed. He transported everyone in the world here to wage war. So that's what we're at right now. Malamat's dead.
I love that little tag. Oh, and Malamat's dead. Like, it's such a great. That was, for those of you who don't remember, that was Sherwood just came back from the Plane of the Damned. Westra brought him back after getting slapped by Dathmeros, and so Greg was like getting Sherwood up to speed of everything that had happened since episode 100, and yeah. So, but Jesse specifically left in the comment part of the form of Kelsey takes notes, Josh edits the episodes, and obviously Reid writes the campaign. But how much do Dan and Mike remember past episodes?
Past episodes?
Yeah.
I feel like between episodes, or like right now if you were to quiz me. I feel like between episodes I have a pretty good grasp on what was going on. Cuz I don't take as detailed notes as Kelsey, but I'll write little stuff down that I need to remember between episodes. Or like if I have an idea for something I want to do with a character, or something I want to talk to someone in the group about, I'll make a note of it.
So for like a lot of these clips and stuff that we listen to during these episodes, are they fresh in your mind, or like, oh, I don't remember that at all?
Oh, most of the time it takes me right back to the moment.
Interesting. What about you, Mike? How much do you remember of the old stuff?
I I don't remember very much. Honestly, every time I hear that stuff, I'm like, when, where's, who is, what is, and then at the end, I'm like, I don't, what's going on? But I think like I've gotten better. I think like knowing where to, like how to set myself back between episodes, where it's just like not a fresh episode every time. But of course, I remember like the finale and like bigger parts. But I kind of remember more of like what was happening at the table or how I was kind of feeling instead of like, oh, I know where in the story this is happening.
Right.
But yeah, I think I could go back and listen to Volume 1 and be like, wait, what? Like it would be a new story for me, and I would probably find that very fun to do that now. Like go back and listen
I like
to
this Sherwood guy. I don't know what his deal is, but I really like him.
This guy's a good role player. Very off the cuff.
Isn't it funny how you can listen to a recording of yourself, but it still feels new? It's such an unsettling thing.
It's weird because I remember the moments and I remember what happened. Like because I was editing, I feel like the story stuck with me really well, but I don't remember like what I was thinking, and I don't remember all the words. And so like it's interesting for me when like I'm listening and like one of you guys says something wild or crazy, and in my current head that I'm thinking in right now, I have this thought in my head like, well, that was a weird thing to say, and then immediately me in the podcast of past says the exact same thing out loud, and then and I'm like, dark magic. Like it's the weirdest. It's like
that's like Interstellar. You're shaking hands through the wormhole.
It's a really weird experience. But that moment right there, like where I was reciting everything, I was like, how did I? Because I wasn't just mumbling. Like I was legitimately.
That was very accurate.
Like all these things, and I couldn't do that today. I couldn't do that. Like I remember in that much detail so flawlessly.
It every time, like I'm in the Sneak Attack Discord. Obviously I run the Twitter account. I see like the hardcore fans who are posting things. Sorry if you can hear my son screaming, by the way. It's just about his bedtime and he gets loud. So I see all of the people that are doing like re-listens to Volume 1 or be like, oh, this moment was so great, blah blah blah, and be like, that seems very like I don't remember that at all. But then, like, I'm taken back to that episode of it's not Seinfeld, Simpsons, where they're at the Itchy and Scratchy convention, and those two nerds stand up, and they're like, in episode such and such, Itchy plays Scratchy's ribcage like a xylophone, and he hits the same rib in succession, but it produces two distinctly different tones. So how do you explain that? Boy, I sure hope someone got fired over that blunder. And it's like, but I'm that way with like Community and Seinfeld and a lot of other like fandoms that I really enjoy. It was like, man, if I ever met someone like, from those, like if I ever met Dan Harmon or Vince Gilligan, I'm sure they would be like, I don't remember writing any of that. I don't remember saying or like producing any of that, but I'm glad you liked it, kid. Like, just pat me on the head and send me away. Like, so it's funny to be on the receiving end of that, where I'm just like, I don't know any of that stuff. Like, it's so weird. But hey, that was from Jesse, I believe. Yeah, Jesse, thank you so much, everyone, for submitting your questions. I was actually worried we weren't going to fill an hour because we just did clips, but man, we went over an hour. So thank you, everyone, for submitting clips. Thank you to my three panelists for taking the time out and just being able to relive these moments. We know this isn't like, these aren't serialized episodes. It's not like this stuff that brought you to Sneak Attack in the first place. But man, do we appreciate you guys really just like craving this sort of content and any type of content that comes out from us. And every single release, we always get encouraging stuff like, so good to hear you guys' voices, so good to know that everyone's doing well, blah blah blah. And it really just makes us all feel great knowing that you're still out there and this type of stuff still excites you. So thank you guys for submitting your questions in the Google form. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're listening to this on the podcast, there will be a YouTube release of it the following Monday. It's always the Monday after the podcast release on our YouTube channel. So appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to our patrons on Patreon. And thank you to everyone who is supporting us through Cotton Bureau by buying our merch, our shirts, and our pins. Appreciate you all. That's going to do it for this quarantine content. Number 6, heart hands in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.